Hello everyone, I'm Jeff Cook with Jeff Cook Real Estate of LPT Realty, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to dive into a topic that can be confusing for home buyers and sellers alike. So what is it? It's closing costs. Let's jump right in. What are they? Why are they? Who's going to pay them? Let's do all the things. Closing costs are the fees and expenses associated with finalizing your real estate transaction, aka buying a home or selling a home. They cover a range of services and expenses, including lender fees, title insurance, appraisal fees, and other things. It's important to understand that closing costs can vary depending on the location, the kind of loan you may be getting, or if you're selling your home, and a variety of other factors. So we're gonna jump into some greater detail. It's important to understand that closing costs aren't a scam. I know it can be frustrating to encounter unexpected expenses when you think you know what something should cost, but closing costs cover the expenses of many things that occur throughout the home buying or the home selling process. Ideally, your realtor will help you explain this so you aren't shocked when these costs come up. Let's break down some of these closing costs for you. First, there are lender fees, which can include an origination fee or a processing or underwriting fee. These make sure that the mortgage lending agency gets paid for securing the loan. If you're paying cash, you will not have any lender fees. Then there are third-party fees such as title insurance or homeowner's insurance or attorney fees or escrow fees. Again, these are services that are happening throughout the process of the real estate transaction to make sure you get the home that you expected you were going to get. Many of these providers aren't paid until the closing costs are collected at the very end. Finally, there are prepaid items such as property taxes or a homeowner's insurance policy. These are the things that have to be up to date when the new owner acquires the property. So let's talk about who typically pays for these closing costs. In a traditional sale, the buyer and the seller each have their own set of closing costs. The buyer would pay for the costs associated with getting ready to buy the home, and a seller would pay for the costs associated with selling the home. However, it is common for the buyer to cover a majority of the closing costs. The seller may cover some of these fees on behalf of the buyer, such as maybe a real estate commission. But in a real estate transaction, everything is on the table and it's all up for negotiation. And that takes us to our next segment of this video, which is the really important one if you're wanting to buy a home. In some cases, closing costs can be negotiated between the buyer and seller as part of the purchase agreement. This can be a point of negotiation during the offer process, and it's important to have a clear understanding of who will be responsible for which part of the closing cost. One of these options is for the seller to offer concessions to the buyer, such as maybe covering a portion of the closing costs for the buyer. In a difficult market, when houses maybe aren't moving very quickly, buyers can often get sellers to cover a large portion of the closing cost to make the purchase easier and more affordable for the buyer. This will make it a little more appealing by reducing your out-of-pocket expenses as a buyer, which will help negate potentially higher interest rates. However, in a competitive market where offers are coming in quickly, maybe interest rates are a little better, homes are selling quickly, if you're the buyer, you can pretty much count on getting stuck with the bulk of those closing costs. The seller typically won't budge on the price, because if you won't pay it, another buyer will. Another option is for the lender to offer credits to the buyer to cover some of these closing costs. This can be a win-win for both parties, as the buyer gets assistance with their closing cost and the lender can help secure the loan. Here are some tips for managing these closing costs as a buyer or as a seller. As a buyer, it's important to budget for your closing costs in addition to your down payment. This can help you avoid a surprise at closing to ensure that you have enough funds to cover all of your expenses. Again, your realtor should be able to help you with this as you're in the buying process. Don't be afraid to ask questions and make sure you understand the numbers really well. This is a major purchase and you should know exactly what you're getting into and how much it's going to cost. So don't be afraid to ask and to expect full disclosure. As we already talked about, you can negotiate the closing cost. Let your realtor know that you might be looking for some help to ease the burden at closing. And you can decide what do we want to offer on price and on closing cost. You can navigate that with your real estate professional. They might be able to help you negotiate favorable terms, but don't overplay your hand and ask for a huge discount and closing costs because you might bargain yourself out of a home that you really love. When you apply for a mortgage, your lender is required to provide you with what's called a loan estimate. This outlines all of the closing costs associated with the loan and your interest rate and payments. Be sure to review this carefully. Ask your lender any questions that you may have about this, and as always, we have wonderful lenders to help you take action on this and help you with this process of getting pre-approved for your next home. Finally, we've already assumed this whole time that you're working with a qualified real estate agent, but I know some folks are going to try to do it on their own. I know I'm a little biased, but I can't overstate the importance of working with a real estate agent who's experienced in handling real estate transactions. They can help you navigate the complexities of closing costs and every other hurdle of the home buying experience and ensure that you understand all of your rights and your responsibilities. Did you know that there are an average of 52 people involved in each real estate transaction? That's right, 52, from the lenders to the attorneys to the appraisers to the title insurance people and on and on and on. We can help you navigate each of those relationships, and we have relationships with everyone that you need to know to get to the finish line. So what are we waiting on? Reach out today to let us help you get your questions answered and help you get clarity about the home buying process. In conclusion, closing costs are a necessary evil of the real estate transaction. I wish there were none. Nobody likes to get stuck with them. The seller doesn't like to pay them, the buyer doesn't like to pay them, but people do expect to get paid as the professionals of the real estate transaction. They cover a range of fees and expenses, and it's important to understand who pays and how much can be negotiated on either side. By being informed and working with a trusted real estate agent, you can navigate the closing process with confidence and certainty. Hey, thank you for watching, and if you're looking to buy or sell, one of our expert real estate agents would love to help take care of you here at Jeff Cook Real Estate of LPT Realty. Be sure to like and subscribe for more real estate and business content and insights, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much.